Hello and welcome back to Global. I'm Jon Sopel. Now, the world of comics is boundless, limited only by the imagination. But you may have trouble getting your head round what's just happened to one of Marvel's most famous characters, Thor. He is now a she. Yep. The hammer-wielding Norse god is now a goddess, apparently to try to attract more females to the publication. And that's not all that's shocked comic book fans this week. It's also been announced that another famous character, this time the high school heartthrob Archie Andrews, is to be killed off. So, will they increase sales or drive away fans? Are they just publicity stunts? Well, with me, two guests who will explain. Will Brooker is Professor of Film and Cultural Studies at Kingston University in London, and Dr. Kate Oughton is a lecturer in media communications at Regent's University in London. Welcome to you both.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, good idea, bad idea? Should we deal with Thor first?
Do you want to ask me first?
Yeah.
I think anything that gives us more positive female role models in comic books is a good thing, and anything that attracts more female readers is a good thing, and makes them think that comics is a thing for them. I think the representation of women in the superhero genre has not historically been good, and any small change should be applauded.
Do you agree?
I do, very much so. I think it's particularly interesting in terms of the way that fans and the people who not only read the comics but also interact in terms of social media, in terms of conventions and so forth, will actually be able to kind of understand the characters and also kind of be able to take them perhaps as role models. Yeah,
but do you think that a female reader is going to think, oh, good, Thor's now a woman, I'll pick up the magazine, the comic?
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Really?
People are already saying that on social media, yeah.
Oh, yes.
They're saying they'll give it a chance. I think it would be a big leap for someone who's never read a comic to pick up Thor because it's a female lead character, but I know that some people who already read comics are going to give this title a chance because of the change.
Oh, exactly. I mean, realistically, look at just this last weekend, we had the London Film Comic Con, and already there we have people going in so-called cosplay, dressing up as the characters, who are going as female Thors, as female Lokis. It's something that will give them an added excuse, if you will, to go out and find this additional material, thinking there is something in this for me.
And is it enough just to say that Thor is a woman, or do you have to kind of, you know, she can't just, surely you can't just translate her from being a bloke to a woman and then say, well, that's all we need to do. Do you have to change the character as well?
Apparently it is a different character. It's a woman who becomes Thor. Thor is kind of a title. Thor is a role, I think, just as different people have played the role of Batman over his history. The person who was originally Thor, I think, carries on existing, but this is a woman who picks up the hammer and wields his powers.
Yes, which has been done before, of course. I mean, within the actual comics, there was a character called Jane who became an avatar for Thor, and also, if you go right back to the original myth, we had things like Thrym's poem where the same thing happened.
Well, you said something interesting there when you said that a lot of different people have played Batman. Yep. Isn't the reality that no one's really interested in comics anymore in the way that they used to be? They're interested in kind of superhero films, so Batman, Iron Man, you know, you name it. Those are interesting, but who goes into the newsagents and buys a comic anymore?
Well, that's very true, isn't it? Well, for a start, the market has moved from newsagents to specialist comic shops, and also it wouldn't be true to say that no one reads comics. There is a smaller but very, very dedicated readership for comics, but it's very true.
But that's not commercial, is it? That's not...
Well, perhaps increasingly less so. I think comics are now, the biggest comics are selling in hundreds of thousands and the smallest are selling in a few thousands. And it's certainly true that superheroes are bigger than ever before, but comics are perhaps dwindling as a market. We now know superheroes from the big budget films rather than the comics.
Exactly, that's the point. So they exist only, you know, their comic book existence is irrelevant almost now.
No, but then we can see comics possibly as a kind of trial ground for what happens in the films. If this female Thor takes off, it could lead to female casting for Thor in the Avengers franchise.
Yes, and also, realistically, interest in genre is increasing, particularly in academia. There's a lot of studies of particularly genre culture now, and also there are a number of documentaries coming up. I think there's a 2000 AD documentary coming up at the moment.
There is, isn't
Yeah, awesome. And the nice thing is about this, it means that although in some ways it may not be getting the big bucks that some of the films are, but it means that there is more talent coming in to hopefully create more new product as well.
And what is our view, our standpoint on killing people? Well, I mean, murder is bad, obviously, but I mean, killing people off, I'm talking about characters, I'm talking about Archie Andrews.
Happens all the time. I mean, it's interesting that these things do attract attention from mainstream media. You know, Batman's been killed or sent back in time, Superman's been killed, Captain America was assassinated. I'm not a big Archie fan, but a minute's research told me this is in a comic called Life with Archie, which is set in a future continuity for Archie anyway. It's a future Archie. So this is what might happen to him. It's an older Archie. Yeah. It's not the teenager, OK? Yeah, there's different strands of Archie's continuity.
It's all right, kids.
Yeah. You cool about that?
I think so, absolutely, because to me, a lot of this literature, you know, the literature of films, whatever, they reflect our lives. I mean, if you look at the whole explosion of superhero films after things like 9/11, for example, so much of this is about going through growing pains and, hey, there's death out there. It's a way of us beginning through fantasy to begin to understand how this affects us and social issues.
This probably reflects worse on me. I didn't realise there was such a big academic area of study of cartoons. Is it a big area?
Well, you have to say comic books, you know. We have to correct you on that. You know, cartoons are
sorry, comic books. Sorry, I've gone. I'm going to write 100 times. I must not say comic books when I mean cartoons.
Yeah. It's important. It's important kids stuff. Look, I mean, you know, comic books are essentially popular entertainment, but I still think that popular icons, cultural figures like that are important. They provide us with role models. They provide us with a way of thinking about the world. We need heroes in our lives, and superheroes are one of the main sources of that right now.
Because they are so human as well. I mean, this is a joyous thing about them. You know, part of the appeal of them is we get to look at the dark side, the bits where their lives go wrong as well. And this is the thing, we relate to them. So it's great that we have these different characters that do try new things out.
Kate, Will, both of you, thank you very much indeed. This superhero will be back in a few moments' time. Do stay with us. Thank you very much indeed.